Well, it was this tweet by the sports minister in Ireland that had people talking during the festive season. It was a comment that many viewed as glib. He was with his goose here saying, "Guess who cooked my goose?" pointing to numerous groups he's had dealings with, one of which is the Football Association of Ireland. But that tweet has been rebuked by many because of the serious situation the FAI finds itself in. It's in a serious debt crisis, 55 million in debt, and the future really remains unclear. I spoke to Gavin Riley earlier. He's a political correspondent for Virgin Media News, and he says that there was 2 decades of real financial mismanagement.
The Association's former chief executive, John Delaney, stood down earlier this year after 17 years in charge of football's governing body in Ireland. A couple of years ago, he said that when he was going to step down towards the end of this decade, that the association would be debt-free, that all of its investments in the major new Aviva Stadium in Dublin and all of its other financial commitments would all effectively have levelled off and the association would be in good financial shape. But a few months after he left, it turns out that accounts had effectively been misfiled, their details miscalculated, transactions books when they hadn't actually appeared at all. And the end result is that the association is, as he said, 55 million euro in the red as of the end of last year, potentially up to 70 million euro in the red at the end of this year. And effectively, there are no major bodies other than perhaps the Irish government who would be prepared to step in and to help bail out the association.
Now, after its AGM, the FAI issued an apology. They said to the thousands who were involved with Irish football at all levels of the game, to the Irish public and to the FAI staff, around 200 or more staff affected by this. But the future for the FAI very much remains uncertain.
Whether they get it from the Irish government seems to be a very sketchy idea. Both Taoiseach Leo Varadkar and the Sports Minister Shane Ross, as you mentioned, have both ruled out putting any public money into the FAI. They're still slightly dealing with the scars of the financial crisis from 10 years ago and the banks that Ireland bailed out at that time. There is still overwhelming negative public sentiment against the idea of bailing out any private institution with public money. So the idea of them getting public money seems to be quite slim. But then you have a problem because there's not many other places that the FAI can turn to. They have been talking to banks for the last couple of months, trying to refinance a lot of the debts that they have. There's even been talk of selling their share in that brand new Aviva Stadium that I mentioned. There hasn't really been any takers for that. The only obvious prospect there seems to be would maybe be getting a bailout from UEFA, European football's governing body. But UEFA have already been advancing the FAI. A lot of the cash that they've needed for the last couple of years to keep going, they've basically been drawing down from tomorrow's money to pay for today's bills. UEFA doesn't seem to want to write a cheque either, but it seems that the only way that you could possibly have a solution is for either UEFA or the Irish government to write a cheque, both of which say at this current time that they're not going to do.
And so a tongue-in-cheek joke by the sports minister, but behind all this is a very serious situation for Irish football.